Welcome back to a new video. So I bought a new, I should say, it's a new camera body. So the camera that I'm using is still the same one as I used before, but I haven't gone through and done the same thing before where I can record an infinite clip, or at least as long as the battery lasts. So I'll be limited by the 20-minute clips, but this is going to be a mic'd up video, and I actually should just throw this on because it's going to be a really quick lift. So I contemplate taking a day off, but the rhythm that I've been getting into in this week of training is every other day I either have a squat or a pull of some sort. And yesterday I did some squats, and I didn't really even want to train like at all today, but I figured I would come out here and do some pulls because those are easy for me mentally to do, and it kind of fits in with the training anyway. I thought about potentially adding in other stuff, but because of how much work I've been doing this week, as far as, you know, the volume of everything, I don't want to go super hard today and do snatches and everything, because I feel like this is like the day where I need to, I don't want to say necessarily recover, but if I were to do more snatches and clean and jerks, like I'm just going to get more joint issues. And not that I'm, having anything that's limiting, but it's kind of like a proactive approach, because I want to lift hard Friday and Saturday, Sunday potentially, but I think Thursday might be a perfect day where it's not a day off, of course, because I'm still going to probably pull pretty heavy since it's all I'm doing, but it's just focused on pull. So I'm going to do clean pulls, and what I'll probably end up doing is just take smaller jumps that I would normally do for any other pulling day, because it's the only lift I'm going to be doing, and just keep doing clean pulls until they turn into clean deadlifts, and then just do a heavy deadlift and just kind of go about it that way. I don't really want to do a lot of volume. I'm not going to do like slow eccentrics. So it's just going to be a really basic pulling session, I guess. It's just going to be some heavy deadlifts, which normally for me would be really quick because I would take big jumps to get to the weights that I'm going to pull. But because this is the only session I'm going to do, I am going to take more jumps. So I'll probably go red, just looking at the plates I have down here. I'll probably go red, red, blue, blue, yellow. So what's that make? 230. And then maybe the other yellow, which would make 260, then maybe the green. So I mean, looking at it by colors for jumps, but essentially get all the plates in here on the bar in some sort of fashion and do a pull with it. I suppose. No, I'm looking at it. So that would get. Oh no, that would be like 310. Okay, I'm not doing 310 today. I'm looking at it. If I had all the reds on, so that's 120, plus the two blues, which would be 200, 230 with one yellow, 260 with the other yellow, 280, or I'm saying the wrong numbers, 230, 260, 280 with the green on. Oh no, I can use all the plates. So if I threw change plates on, that would be additional. So I'm just going to lift all the plates today, all the plates I have, all the new bumper plates I have. That's going to be the training session. So the very easy programming, I suppose. Just add all the plates to it by heavier to lighter until you have no more plates to add other than change plates. I suppose I could go really crazy and add the change plates on, but I probably won't go that insane. But yeah, those would be my jumps. So I actually can count my sets. So we're gonna do 70, 120, 160, 200, 230, 260, 280, and so what, 7 sets. So we're gonna do 7 sets of pulls today. It's really easy when you can just lift all the weights that you have at your disposal. So that's the session today. I'm gonna get my weightlifting shoes on. I'm gonna try to do all the pulls with my weightlifting shoes on. I'm kind of in between whether I'm gonna put my knee wraps on or not, because it does help me just get warmed up faster. I don't really need it for pulls, but it's one of those things like I wear it for every session. So I'll probably start with them not on, and then if I'm really achy, because I actually don't feel too physically bad, but it's one of those days where I know when I don't, like, if I wanted to try to move fast and do a snatch, I'd be not having fun. And so I think like joint wise and like muscle wise, I'm pretty well recovered, but I think neurologically from the last couple days, I'm pretty fatigued from that. But we won't know until we start pulling. We of course are going to strap up. I actually have one little wrinkle in my training. I was cutting open a bag this morning, and I cut my finger a little bit along the cuticle, and it's not really bad or anything. It's not going to like impact training, but because I just did it this morning, I might have to put some tape on it so it doesn't open up and bleed. It hasn't been, like, it's a pretty small cut, but when you have a lot of pressure on your finger, it's just going to open up any sort of little cut thing that you might have, especially on the ends of your fingers. Those tend to open up pretty easily. When I had the big cuts on, actually on this hand, on this finger, this finger, they would open up every single training session for probably like 2 or 3 weeks until they started to actually fully heal. But I think that's about it for the intro. So it's gonna be a full mic'd up video, so I'm gonna be talking throughout, but I'll probably have some music playing, and actually we'll go with headphones, so I'm not worried about the copyright issue with that. And I don't really need a lot of music for pulls anyway. It is just and I actually don't remember the last time I just came in and just did pulls. So this will be an interesting session in that regard, because even when I did the 300 kilo deadlift like a month ago or 2 months or however long ago I did that, at this point, it was after doing other stuff. Like, I had trained normally and then I just do it at the end of a session. So I don't necessarily think it's going to be like, wow, everything's feeling super easy today, but because I honestly think, like, if I do like snatches or cleans and stuff and then deadlifts, I think I deadlift better, because I'm as warmed up as I can be and able to exert more force. But I'm also kind of full of water. I put my brew workout in quite a bit of water, so I'm a little bloated from that. So hopefully I don't projectile vomit or anything forward. But even if I deadlift 280, it's not going to be a crazy weight for me to die on. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. Once we get to that, like, if everything's feeling great, like, maybe I'll push a little above 280, but at that point, then I'm going to be really trying to scramble to find weights out here. And maybe that's good I didn't buy any more plates, because I shouldn't be deadlifting more than 280 when I don't need it. But yeah, enough of this preamble. Let's get into the weights. I'm of course not going to bother warming up with the bar because it's deadlift. So we're going to get 70 on there and get the shoes on, and just be talking throughout the clip. So talk to you on the next clip. I was kind of thinking about it when I was putting my shoes on, but I think once I do 230, I'll take off my shoes to make the pulls, just I guess, true deadlifts in a sense, and do the 260 and 280 without shoes. Because I really kind of feel like after, probably more so 200, but really after like 230, I'm not really in the same position as I would be in a clean. My hips are up higher, much more to a deadlift, and that probably happens with a weight lighter than that, probably even closer to 200, when my form, I don't say breaks down, but like turns into a deadlift versus just a regular clean pull or a clean deadlift. And there's not a ton of utility. Plus, it makes the pull feel much better to not have shoes on. Much better leverages. When I have shoes on and it's like a heavy deadlift, it kind of feels like a deficit. And we don't want to be lifting in a deficit. That's not fun. But I should probably sit in a squat for a second, so my knees aren't shocked to be exerting. They're not used to not being warmed up for a deadlift, so we want them to actually be able to function. But we're going to do the 70 here, 70, 120, because I already went through the 7 sets. And then if something's feeling good, then could do something like 290, but we got to kind of have to see what the vibe is. So maybe everything's going to feel really easy because it's a deadlift. Or maybe everything's going to feel achy, but I don't have my knee wraps on yet. I'll probably throw them on for the next set, because I can already feel my body's going to be a little angry at me. But let's hit this. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're definitely throwing the knee wraps on. It's like in the mid-40s out here. So it's actually pretty cold, which helped to, I mean, if it was like 75 degrees, I probably would have been more inclined to do a normal session, but especially based on that pull, I'm very glad that I made this choice, because my left knee's been a little achy. I'm going to take these off for a second. My left knee's been a little achy, which hasn't limited me in any training, but it's just something that I've been noticing. So we'll throw this on. If nothing else, provides a little bit of compression and will help support the joint a little bit. Then we're going to do 70 again to make sure it just feels okay. We don't want to be breaking ourselves, especially on pulls. If I'm going to break myself, I want it to be on an actual important lift. But I got like 2 layers of pants on, 2 layers of sweatshirt slash t-shirt, long sleeve t-shirt on. So I should be able to stay pretty warm. Plus, when you're using straps, it doesn't matter what the temperature of the bar is. But maybe my initial feeling is a little too ambitious for the top end of the pool. I'm going to be burping a lot because I'm very hydrated right now. All right, we'll do 70 again. But I'm sure you all know the feeling when you do your first squat in a session when you're warming up, and you're like, oh my goodness, I can't do any squatting. I can't go into a squat today, or you think that until you actually get warmed up and all the intramuscular and tended fluids get flowing. I might switch to the blue straps, to the old Iron Mine ones eventually, but we'll start with the what's his face, Sin Crane straps. I don't know if he calls them Sin Crane straps. You should call them those. Good alliteration. All right. I think one day I'll be able to do a clean with that weight. But we'll keep rocking and rolling. I'll have to keep an eye on the clip because I think at the default, I should say default, the normal limiter is 20 minutes. And then if you put it into like the factory setting, you can get around it because it's not a true limit on the camera. It's just something that they put in older cameras for tax avoidance purposes. Which, if you care enough, you can Google it and see people talking about why there's that limit on older cameras like that. It's not really that interesting. It's just people trying to avoid paying taxes. I think in Europe, I don't even think it's an American thing. Dang Europeans ruining cameras, but thankfully there's a workaround, which is the only reason I would have I repurchased it. Because my other one was starting to, the SD card slot was starting to get a little non-functioning. It still worked, but I could tell it was kind of on the fritz, and then the little flip out part of the camera was getting loose. So I still have it. It's definitely something I'm going to keep because it still functions. But I want it to be something that, you know, I have money, I have a job, so I can afford things. And I found a really cheap replacement on Amazon. It's just the same camera, and I've only seen one issue. There's like a scratch on one corner, but it's basically brand new. And it's much cheaper than upgrading to something crazy nice. And honestly, for, you know, these kind of videos, I don't need anything that's like $1,000. That's how all these new cameras are. And I'm like, I just need something that I can sit on a tripod and record and not look terrible. All right. So 120. I just needed more weight. That one already felt better. Sweatpants are starting to fall down. You get a little plumber show, but yeah, I think definitely having the knee wraps on. I don't know if it's just mentally it feels better to have them on, or if there's actually a physical benefit, but I always feel better with them on, and I don't view them as a big detriment, as Dozer might think that they stretch your ligaments out. It'd be pretty amazing if this little stretchy fabric could do that. Stretching your ligaments. All right, so we got 160, or we will have 160 once I get this side on. And we're going to keep rocking and rolling. After this clip, we'll reset the, or at least start and stop the clip, just to make sure I'm not going to get limited by anything. And we'll keep rocking with the glasses on until they start slipping. They should be all right for pulls, though. But I do understand singles because it's pulls, and it's not great. If anything I can avoid doing a lot of volume on, it's pulls and deadlifts, because they create a lot of fatigue, and it's not a weakness of mine. But we'll use some music for this one. And a burp. All right. So this and 200 will probably be the last two that look somewhat like cleans, but yeah, it doesn't feel too bad. I definitely felt kind of my hips, I guess, shoot up slightly, but I think I'm probably setting them too low. It's generally what I do on most of the Olympic lifts, is my hips will come up a little bit as I'm starting to pull, but I usually set them too low, and that's always just been, I don't know if it's I don't think it's good technically, but it's just something I've literally always done. It's not really something I'm going to worry about changing now. Of all the things I should fix, I think that's pretty low on the tier list of them, but we're going to start to have a clip. That was 160, moved pretty well. When we come back, hit 200. Just keep moving from there. Honestly, pulls feel pretty good. I mean, maybe it's the fact that, you know, I haven't done any training today, and then pulls will actually feel normal, or at least I don't say normal, but will feel actually really good. And I won't have to be like, you know, Naruto when Rock Lee takes off his weights off his legs and he moves really fast. Like maybe that's all the pre-fatigue I usually do before deadlifts. That's what I'm normally doing all my deadlifts and pulls with a lot of fatigue. So I'll actually be fresh, but I don't know. Feels pretty good. Glasses, I'm starting to feel on my face. I don't really know how to describe that feeling, but it's a big reason why I don't wear them is even if they're not coming off, like as I'm lifting, I just become more acutely aware that they exist on my, like I feel them on my nose. I don't know why I get that feeling just when I'm lifting, because throughout the day in my life, I wear my glasses all the time. And it's only when I'm lifting that I'm like, even if I'm just doing deadlifts like this and they're not falling off or anything, I'm like, I just gotta have them off. So we'll whip them off here and get the blues on and do my 4 sets. It's actually pretty easy to count my sets, just count the plates. But I'll be back in a second. So we switched to the old Iron Mind straps. They're just so much better than every other strap I've ever tried to use for weightlifting. I've used them for all my heaviest deadlifts as well. Not these ones in particular. These are actually newer than my OG ones. So I had a part, it was really kind of actually in a piece on one side. It was starting to kind of fray a little bit and starting to kind of wear down. But I mean, that was after several years, and I still have them. I still will use them. But that was after several years of training. I would say probably after close to 5 years of using them when they started to get like that. And honestly, they're still workable. Like I would still have no problem doing like a heavy snatch or something with them and not worry about them ripping, but they're only like $15. So I mean, you can't, it's hard to justify not just getting a fresh pair if you start to have one that wears down slightly, if it's going to last like 5 years. Because it's always been a good price, but it's just nylon. So it's not really that crazy of material, but they just make a good strap, good product. But enough rambling. We're going to do this 200 really quick. Will probably be my last clean deadlift type lift, and then the 230 will probably start looking really like a deadlift, but get the music playing, get a pull in. I think that one actually felt pretty decent, but I definitely think doing 230, I'll get pitched over too far because of the elevation of the shoe. So we're going to go shoeless one set earlier than I had originally planned, but 230 is kind of like the true maximal weight that I can actually do anything with a clean, tight pull. And I mean, I'm not going to clean anything near 230 at any point. 200 is kind of like a nice limit number, because if you think theoretically, I mean, my best clean ever is 175, but theoretically I could do like a 180 clean. And I say in theory, like if literally every possible bit of my strength was maximized for the squat and for just the clean itself, 180. But it's obviously, 5 kilos over the most. But at least for like programming a pull, you always can be aggressive with like the 100% if it has that programmed in for a clean pull or whatever. If you're good at pulls in particular, you don't have to stick to what you've actually cleaned, because oftentimes that number will not be a very good one for a pull, because you can usually pull a little bit heavier with still correct technique. Obviously, taking off the shoes means that I'm not doing clean pulls anymore or clean deadlifts, which is more similar to that last one. That's usually, obviously you can look at the technique, but usually if I'm kind of measuring it for myself as the speed of the bar, if it starts to slow down a lot, then that's where it turns into a clean deadlift. But also from the much easier measurement of just seeing if you're able to get some elevation on the bar. If you can't, it's a clean deadlift. If you can, it's a clean pull. And when that starts to happen, when it turns into a clean deadlift, it pretty quickly turns into a regular deadlift with my hips being a little bit higher. But we got 230 on the bar. We're going to do this. I don't know if it's going to be really quick. Hey, actually the heaviest deadlift in a couple of weeks, so it'll be interesting to see how it feels. Deadlifts always feel good, but 230 is kind of it's usually a pretty good indicator of if I have a really good deadlift on that day or not. So this will kind of tell me, although 200 felt good. Man, I'm burping a lot, but this one, it's always interesting too when I take off the shoes and then do another pull with a heavier weight. Usually feels as easy as the previous weight because I have better leverages. And basically going from doing a deficit pull to a regular one. So with this 230, it should be really easy. Get the music bopping because music is awesome. All right. So that felt really good. Pleasantly surprised at that. So we'll do the, about lost a callus on my finger. That's interesting. It's usually not a problem on my pinky on my left hand. About ripped a callus off. I'm going to have to shave that down. That's something that's very important if you plan on lifting weights frequently, is managing your calluses. And it's not so much that you got to wear them down and like shave them down super low, but like the spot that I have on this finger, as it gets elevated, the skin on any, I'm not doing like a rotate, lift that the bar is rotating around, but it could still pull. And obviously if you get a callus or, skin that rips off, that's going to impact training quite a bit. This is going to hurt to hold anything, even with straps. Pinky is probably the easier one to work around. When I have ripped calluses on like my palm, then life becomes miserable. And thankfully, most of the time, if it's a skin issue, it's never been a serious one. I've only ever really pulled a true like full callus off, I think once when I was deadlifting, like 7 years ago at this point. And that was from missing a deadlift and then throwing it down / dropping it. It wasn't so much me throwing that, because it was like, I don't know if it was 500 pounds or like 550 or something, but it was a heavy deadlift at the time, and it was a deadlift bar. So the knurling was pretty aggressive, and I got it stuck at my knee, and then I was like, darn. And like, obviously I wasn't like, oh darn. I was very, adamant about yeeting it down, and I yeeted down. I don't know what part of my hand, but I remember it was the last time I just threw a bar down after missing a deadlift. because that was not a fun experience. Because not only did I still miss the deadlift, I then got to experience my first callus rip. But I've had calluses and have had to manage them basically for most of my life, if not actually the vast majority of my life, because I played baseball. And just if you hit a baseball or use a baseball bat for any like time, like you're going to develop calluses. So I've always had them. So managing them has actually been something that's been pretty natural. And I kind of came into weightlifting with them already there for the most part. So it wasn't something that I had to like, that I didn't know how to manage, or like, oh my goodness, my hand is, feeling weird or whatever. So thankfully I've been able to do that. And I don't know if I've ever ripped a callus in the course of playing baseball. I feel like most of the time it's not a full callus rip. It just kind of wears down to the point where it becomes raw. But we're going to start and stop the clip here. When we come back, do this 260, get that green on there, do 280, and see how we're rocking and rolling. But so far, so good. So hopefully it keeps us rocking and rolling up. All right, so we're ready to go. This could always be the last set if it feels really bad. But I would like to, do the 7th set and add the green if I'm able to. But I'm also not worried if this feels a little too heavy. But we'll get the music rocking and make sure it's not the last set. I definitely added load to the bar. That bad boy's actually going to be... I'm actually glad I caught that today on a day like this. But that one felt good, so we'll get the 280 on there and give that a yank. I don't think doing anything more than 280 today... Well, I mean, here's the thing. I could add 280 on there, and that's fine. 280 is a great number. But, and hear me out, I could also add on this 5 or 2.5 and a clip, and that makes 290, which is finer. Get this bad boy super tight. Because, and I don't know if you guys know this, but 290 is actually 10 kilograms more than 280. And through that scientific process of figuring that out, it means it's more better, which is the correct grammatical way to say better. You gotta do a deadlift to get the dang plates to stay on. There we go. The true test of the cold cloth clips. Can they hold my deadlift? If they can, positive reviews. If they collapse, I'm going to throw it up my hill and let it rust out. Oh, this is the hardest part of doing deadlifts, is getting all the dang weight on there. And this is where, like, I could get a deadlift jack. They probably aren't too expensive. But I don't want to put it on a bar, like a weightlifting bar, and potentially, like, slowly wear out the knurling. Not that I'm out here, doing deadlifts like 5 or 6 times a week where I'm going to really wear out a bar, but the knurling is so important on a weightlifting bar. And there's no reason that I can't just load it like this and save it as much as I can. Not that I necessarily think, like, this is an illegal competition bar. Not that I'm necessarily worried about the integrity of the knurling of an illegal competition bar, but you want to keep it as nice as possible. It's a $1,000 bar. It's probably a lot more. I don't even know how much they cost now. Maybe it's less. But back in the day, it was always $1,000 for one of these bars. And it's actually not mine. It's my roommate's bar. So when he does eventually move out, he will most likely take this one, and I'll be back to the Brogue one that I have on the shelf, which honestly has about, it says it's a training bar, but the knurling is almost as aggressive as the Eleiko, which is why I just used the this is an Eleiko competition bar, I should say. It's why I just used the competition bar out here and not the Rogue training bar, is because the knurling is like the exact same. So it doesn't actually help. The Vulcan barbell, if I could talk, the Vulcan bar that I have at the gym that I use for a lot of the clips, if you don't know which one it is, it's the one that doesn't have the end caps on. And with that one, it has very non-aggressive knurling, which is really good for training because it's not going to tear up your hands. When I first started at that gym, I hadn't brought that bar in to the gym at that point. And so they just had an Eleiko. I say just like it's not a really nice bar, but they have an Eleiko, or they still have the Eleiko competition bar. And I was doing all my training on that. And when you train on a competition bar every day, it destroys your hands even with straps. So it becomes very important to have a training bar. And I would say it's better for most people, if you're going to buy your own barbell, to just get a training barbell. There's no reason that you need a competition barbell, because if you can do a lift on the training bar, and the only difference is the knurling is less aggressive, you're going to feel fine in a competition. In fact, I always like competition barbells for the sense that the knurling is always really sharp and aggressive because it is a competition one. And I'll use a training bar all throughout the training cycle. So then you get, it just feels grippier with it. But I kind of get spoiled because obviously I have a really nice bar to train on, whether I'm here or at the gym. And that's a luxury that I get to experience because I have a full-time job. So that's another piece of advice. Get a full-time job so you can buy dumb stuff like I do. I wouldn't say this is dumb, but it's not necessary to have new bumpers and all of that, but you got money to spend. I ain't got kids and stuff, so I'm gonna spend it on dumb stuff that I want. But we're gonna check the clip, make sure we're not too far, then we're gonna smoke this 290 and be done. Be out of here. So we're at what, 6 minutes? All right, we're vibing. We're positively vibing. We're gonna change the song. We hope the battery doesn't die. None of that crazy shenanigans. And then be on our way, go and get some editing and stuff done. That's another reason I wanted the session to be shorter, is so I could potentially start my taxes today, and then also get some editing of videos done. All right. Oh, my foot's cramping. My toes. Oh, I don't know if I've ever experienced, like, my third toe, my left foot started to cramp after that. That certainly is the last rep. I'm not going up anymore with that, but I'm very happy. I kind of it's about as hard as I thought it was going to be. And I felt like it actually got pushed forward a little bit as I was pulling. So I definitely think it could have been more efficient and I could have kept it a little bit closer, but 290 and my best being 302, that certainly is where technical breakdown is going to happen. But hard to say this is a productive session. It was a very fun session. It's very fun just to do pulls. But I think because I don't want to, I'll say wear myself out, I just did a heavy deadlift. I don't want to do a ton of volume today because as I said, I want to get some other stuff done around the house and make sure that I am as prepared for tomorrow for training purposes as I can be. Because part of me is like, I can do some drop sets and do some pulls and RDLs and stuff like that. But all that's going to do is decrease my recoverability for tomorrow's session. And honestly, I'm going to do pulls again. So I did a pull today. I'll potentially will do some squats tomorrow, or tomorrow might just be just snatches and clean jerks. I definitely will do some sort of strength exercise on Saturday. And honestly, I might do a squat and a pull. That might be the day where I just go super crazy because I have the most time to train Saturdays and Sundays. But we'll kind of see. Happy with the 290. Maybe this will just be my Thursday routine. Just hit a heavy pull and then have the rest of the day off and kind of just use it as an easy, I don't want to say an easy light day, but just a quick session. I guess that's a more accurate way to describe it. But I think that's going to be it for this video. No, I didn't really dive too much into different topics, but I suppose the moral of this video is do heavy deadlifts because they're fun. And one of the most important parts of training is to have fun. And if you're not, then you need to figure out what you're doing. Because if you're not excited to come and do any lift on a particular day, then you shouldn't be anywhere near a weight, because that just means you're so fatigued and neurologically destroyed from other days of training that you just need to not even look at weights. But if you have any inkling on any day to do any training, I think it's always good to err on the side of trying to do something, even if that means that you have to work around something or you come in and just do pulls or something. I think that there is some sort of benefit to a session like this. And obviously, there's a stimulus to doing a heavy weight like this, but I think just the consistency and the productivity of coming out, doing some sort of training and, having that be a part of your day is always good to have. But that being said, appreciate you if you made it this far. And if you didn't, then I guess you won't know that I still appreciate you anyway. But I'll talk to you all in the next video. I hope you all have a great day. Peace.